Martha Watson squinted involuntarily at the sound of raindrops tapping against the window in Seattle. She had grown completely accustomed to her quiet life after retirement. Having worked as a nurse in the pediatric ward of a general hospital for 38 years, she still felt as if the scent of disinfectant lingered on her hands. Finally, today's the day, Martha murmured to herself as she picked up Amy's photo from the windowsill. The 8-year-old granddaughter's smile always warmed her heart. The phone rang, and Martha hurriedly picked up the receiver. "Mom, you'll pick her up at 3 this afternoon, right?" Her son Bradley's voice sounded busy as usual, with a hint of impatience. "Of course, don't worry," Martha replied. "How is Olivia doing?" "I think she's fine," Bradley's voice carried more obligation than affection. "Anyway, please take care of Amy. I have an important meeting at work, so I can't get to the hospital right away." Martha held back a sigh. Her son, an executive at a major financial company, always prioritized work. She felt a bit disappointed to see him choosing meetings over his wife's delivery. "I understand. I'll take responsibility for Amy, so you focus on your work," Martha said gently. "And, please give my regards to Olivia." After hanging up, Martha took out a small suitcase from the closet and began packing necessities. She was going to stay at her son's house for a few days until Olivia was discharged from the hospital. 3 hours later, Martha stood in front of Amy's private elementary school. When the bell rang, children began streaming out of the school gates. The moment she spotted Amy with her chestnut hair tied in 2 ponytails, a smile spread across Martha's face. "Grandma!" Amy shouted loudly, running toward her with her backpack bouncing. Small arms wrapped around Martha's waist. "I missed you." "I missed you too, Amy," Martha replied, stroking her granddaughter's head. "I'll take care of you until your mom comes home from the hospital." "Yay!" Amy jumped joyfully. "Hasn't the baby been born yet?" "Not just yet. So let's enjoy our time together for a while." As they got into the taxi, Martha listened attentively to Amy talking about her school and friends. Every time her granddaughter spoke, her eyes shone with intelligence. She seemed to have inherited Bradley's intellect and Olivia's sensitivity. Her son and daughter-in-law's house was in an upscale Seattle neighborhood. The pure white exterior walls with a black roof and perfectly maintained front yard. Everything was so orderly that it looked like it had stepped out of a furniture catalog. Martha secretly felt that what this house lacked was a lived-in feeling. "What time will Daddy come home?" Amy asked while helping prepare dinner. "He said he'll be late." "Let's eat without him," Martha answered. "Can you tell me about your mom? Is she excited about the baby?" Amy's expression clouded momentarily. "Yes, but Mom seems tired lately." "Oh really?" Martha felt something off about her granddaughter's response. "In what way?" "I don't know," Amy shrugged. "But Mom and Dad don't talk much." Martha was about to say something when Amy suddenly changed the subject. "Grandma, can I read a book instead of watching TV? I have homework from school." "Of course," Martha replied. After dinner, once she had put Amy to bed, Martha wandered quietly around the house. Family photos lined the shelves in the living room, but strangely, there were many pictures of Bradley and Amy, while Olivia's presence seemed minimal. Martha stepped into her son's office. Opening a drawer of the meticulously organized desk, she found what appeared to be Olivia's diary. "This is..." After hesitating, Martha flipped through a few pages. "Bradley came home late again today. When I showed him my new painting, he showed no interest. He refused to attend Amy's school performance rehearsal with a single word, busy. He only plays the perfect husband in public. At home." Martha hastily returned the diary to its original place. Anxiety was growing inside her. The next morning, when dropping Amy off at school, she had a brief conversation with her teacher. Amy is a wonderful student. However, she seems a bit restless lately. The teacher said. Have there been any changes at home? She's expecting a baby brother, Martha replied. I see. But what's curious is that Amy has stopped talking about her mother. She used to always say, with Mom, but not anymore. On the way home, Martha asked Amy, don't you talk about your mom at school? After remaining silent for a while, Amy eventually said in a small voice, Mom cries a lot lately. I'm worried about her. I see. Martha gently stroked her granddaughter's head. As the morning sunlight cast long shadows on the kitchen floor, Martha was preparing breakfast. It was the third morning after Olivia's delivery. While cooking oatmeal, she recalled yesterday's phone conversation with Olivia from the hospital. Is Amy all right? Is she getting to school on time? Olivia's voice was weak, but her concern for her daughter came through. Of course, don't worry, Martha answered. How was the delivery? Is the baby healthy? There was a momentary silence on the other end. Yes. I think I can be discharged in about 2 days. Has Bradley been to see you? Yesterday, briefly, Olivia's voice held a hint of resignation. He's busy with work. Martha couldn't help but frown. Why was her son so indifferent to the birth of his second child? Good morning, Grandma, Amy's voice interrupted her thoughts. Her granddaughter entered the kitchen in pajamas, rubbing her eyes. Good morning, Amy. Did you sleep well? Martha asked with a smile. Breakfast is oatmeal. You like that, don't you? Yes, thank you, Amy sat at the table. Where's Dad? He's already left. He said he had an early meeting today. Amy nodded silently and stuck her spoon into the oatmeal. Grandma, after school today, I want to make a present for Mom's baby. That's lovely, what a wonderful idea, Martha replied. Mom will be delighted. Do you think Mom is happy about the baby? Amy's question contained the sharp observation unique to children. Martha hesitated for a moment. Of course. Why do you ask? Because. Amy began carefully, as if choosing her words. When Mom's tummy got big, Dad asked her, do we really need this now? I overheard. Martha felt something heavy sink in her chest. That was, probably just Dad being concerned. But Mom was crying, Amy's eyes reflected anxiety. Martha sat next to Amy and put an arm around her small shoulders. Adults have their complications. But your Mom and Dad both love you very much. After sending Amy to school, Martha looked around the house again. Though perfectly arranged on the surface, something felt off about the placement of photos and the choice of decor. The living room walls featured many photos of Bradley's promotions and award ceremonies, while Olivia's presence was minimal. All of Olivia's art supplies and books were crammed into what appeared to be a guest room. In the afternoon, while on her way to pick up Amy from school, Martha's mobile phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello, this is Martha Watson. Mrs. Watson. This is Caroline, Olivia's friend. The woman's voice sounded a bit tense. I heard from Olivia that you're taking care of Amy. Yes, that's right. Is something wrong? No. I was just planning to visit Olivia today. If it's all right, I'd like to take Amy along. Martha thought for a moment. Thank you. But I think Olivia still needs rest. It might be better for Amy to wait a little longer. I see. After hesitating, Caroline continued. Actually, there's something else. Olivia wanted me to give you something. May I come to your house today? Though feeling something was off, Martha agreed. Yes, of course. That evening, Caroline arrived. As soon as she saw Amy, she rushed over and hugged her. Amy. Have you been well? Aunt Caroline. Amy responded happily. How's Mom? And the baby? They're fine. I have a letter from your mom. Caroline handed Amy a small envelope. Amy took the letter and ran upstairs to her room. Alone in the kitchen, Caroline's expression changed completely. Actually, she lowered her voice. I'm worried about Olivia. I've been waiting for a chance to talk when Bradley wasn't home. What do you mean? Martha frowned. Olivia is. Caroline hesitated as if searching for words. Her relationship with Bradley isn't going well. But you should hear the details from her directly. Is there a problem? Martha couldn't hide her concern. She just can't be her true self. Not in this house. Caroline looked around. Olivia has talent as an artist, but Bradley sees her work as just a hobby. Her voice keeps getting smaller in this house. The sound of the front door opening interrupted Caroline's words. Bradley had returned. He entered the kitchen and frowned at the sight of Caroline. Caroline, what brings you here at this hour? His voice was cold. I just came to deliver a letter from Olivia to Amy, Caroline replied. You could have asked my mother to do that, Bradley said irritably. Where's Amy? In her room, Martha answered. By the way, Bradley, have you visited Olivia? Have you seen the baby? Yes, briefly yesterday, Bradley shrugged. It's a boy. The doctor said we can bring them home this weekend. Have you decided on a name? When Martha asked, her son answered somewhat awkwardly. Olivia wants to call him Noah. I prefer a stronger name, but I don't want to upset her right now. After Caroline left, during dinner, Amy suddenly said. Dad, aren't you going to see the baby today? I'm busy with work, Bradley answered curtly. But Mom said she feels lonely. Amy's words brought a moment of silence to the table. Bradley wiped his mouth with a napkin and fixed Amy with a cold stare. Amy, don't interfere in adult matters. I'm sorry. Amy's voice became small. That night, Martha was reading a picture book in Amy's room. Grandma, Amy suddenly asked, do Dad and Mom like each other? Martha felt her chest tighten. Why do you think that? Because. Amy hesitated. Mom's eyes looked sad. Martha hugged Amy. It's going to be okay. Grandma is here for you. But inside, she was determined to go see Olivia. This family had something hidden beneath the surface. And Martha could see painfully clearly that it was casting a shadow on her granddaughter's small heart. Martha received a call from the hospital. Olivia would be discharged tomorrow. She sat on the living room sofa to organize her thoughts. It was the 5th day since the delivery. Were the discrepancies she'd felt over these past few days just her imagination? Or... Mom, I'll pick them up by car tomorrow morning, Bradley said, poking his head out of his home office. I'll bring Olivia and the baby home, so could you please prepare the house? Yes, of course, Martha replied. Will Amy go too? No, she has school. She can meet them afterward, Bradley answered matter-of-factly before retreating back to his office. Martha stood in the kitchen and began preparations for tomorrow. The refrigerator was stocked with Bradley's favorites, but there were hardly any foods that Olivia liked. Thinking she should plan a special menu for a postpartum woman, she prepared to go to the supermarket. Amy, Grandma's going shopping for a bit. I'll be back in about an hour, do you want anything? Amy, playing with toys in the living room, shook her head. No, I'm fine. Dad's working, so call my cell right away if anything happens. After seeing Amy nod, Martha left. At the supermarket, she selected ingredients good for postpartum nutrition and also bought a small gift that might please Olivia. After checking out and returning home, the living room was completely quiet. Amy. Martha called, but there was no answer. Getting a bit worried, she knocked on the door of the upstairs children's room. "Amy, Grandma's back." The door opened slightly, and Amy's small face peeked out. "Welcome back, Grandma. What were you doing?" Martha asked. "I was drawing a picture for Mom's baby." Amy opened the door and invited Martha into the room. Colorful crayon drawings were spread across the desk. "What a lovely picture," Martha said admiringly. "Is this your family?" Amy's drawing showed 4 people: Mom, Dad, Amy herself, and the small baby. Strangely, though, there was a thick black line drawn between Dad and Mom. "What's this?" Martha pointed to the black line. Amy shrugged. "I don't know. I just wanted to draw it that way." Martha said nothing, but her heart ached at what the drawing might mean. After dinner, Bradley retreated to his office again, and Martha spent the evening in the living room with Amy. "What book shall we read tonight?" Martha asked while selecting a picture book from the shelf. "Grandma, today I'll tell you the story Mom read to me in the hospital." Amy's eyes sparkled. "She read it to me when I went to the hospital with Aunt Caroline before." "Did you? When did you go?" Martha was a bit surprised. "2 days ago. When Dad said he had a meeting," Amy answered. "Aunt Caroline picked me up from school, and we went to see Mom in secret." Martha frowned. "You kept it from Dad?" Amy nodded, looking a bit anxious. "Dad said, don't disturb Mom while she's resting, but Mom wanted to see me." Martha felt conflicted. She couldn't understand why her son would try to restrict even the interaction between his wife and daughter. "Will you tell me the story?" Martha changed the subject. Amy nodded happily and began telling the tale in her own words. It was about a little bird that flew freely in the sky and another little bird that lived in a cage. The story ended with the cage door opening and the bird becoming free. To Martha, the story seemed like a metaphor for something. When the story ended, Martha took Amy upstairs to put her to bed. After changing into pajamas and brushing her teeth, Amy crawled into bed. "Grandma," Amy called in a small voice. "Are Mom and the baby coming home tomorrow?" "Yes, they are," Martha replied while tucking in the blanket. "Aren't you excited?" Amy was silent for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. "Mom said she doesn't want to come home." Martha's hands froze. "What do you mean?" "I don't know," Amy shook her head. "But Mom told Aunt Caroline that. She thought I couldn't hear them." Martha kissed her granddaughter's forehead. "It's going to be all right. Everything will work out." However, her heart was filled with complex emotions. After bedtime, when the house had grown quiet, Martha was in her room looking through a photo album she had received from Olivia. In the early marriage photos, Olivia's eyes were full of light, but in recent photos, her smile had disappeared, replaced by a somewhat vacant expression. Just then, the door opened softly, and Amy peeked in. "Amy, are you still awake?" Martha asked in surprise. "Is something wrong?" "I can't sleep," Amy said in a small voice. "I want to stay with you." Martha made space next to her on the bed. "Come here." Amy crawled into bed and nestled in Martha's arms. After a moment of silence, she suddenly said, "Grandma, Mom's baby has a secret." Martha stiffened. "A secret? What do you mean?" Amy hesitated a little but eventually took out the smartphone she had placed by the pillow. "Mom told me not to show this, but I think it's okay to show you." Martha asked with a forced smile, "What is it?" Amy unlocked the phone and opened the photo app. "But, you absolutely can't tell Dad." The screen of the smartphone she handed over showed message exchanges between Olivia and an unknown man named David. Scrolling down revealed intimate photos of the two. Olivia's happy smile in these photos made her look like a different person from the Olivia that Martha knew. Even more shocking, the next photo showed David holding the newborn baby. Olivia's message read, "He looks like you." Martha was speechless. At that moment, various pieces of dissonance connected in her mind: Bradley's coldness toward Olivia's pregnancy, the concern of Olivia's friend, Amy's strange behavior, and the testimony that Olivia didn't want to come home. "Amy, how did you get this phone?" Martha asked quietly. "Aunt Caroline gave it to me at the hospital," Amy answered sleepily. "She said it was a secret gift from Mom." Martha exhaled deeply. "Amy, let's keep this a secret from Dad. Can you promise?" Amy nodded. "Yes. I want to protect Mom." "So do I." Martha hugged her granddaughter. Amy eventually fell asleep, but Martha kept staring at the ceiling with open eyes. Tomorrow, Olivia would come home. And she would have to make a choice: confront the truth of this family or pretend not to know. As morning light filtered through the curtains, Martha had made up her mind. She needed to go to the hospital and talk directly with Olivia. Whatever her son's marriage was like, she needed to know the truth to protect her grandchildren's happiness. She gently kissed Amy's forehead and quietly slipped out of bed. While preparing breakfast, Bradley appeared in the dining room. He was already perfectly dressed in a suit, his hair impeccably styled. "Mom, I need to change today's plans," he said in a businesslike tone. "An emergency meeting with an important client came up. Could you contact the hospital and ask if Olivia's discharge can be postponed until the afternoon?" Martha felt angry at her son's insensitivity but didn't voice it. "I understand. I'll go to the hospital and bring Olivia and the baby home." "Thank you." Bradley took a sip of coffee and checked his watch. "I'll be back in the evening then." After he left, Martha saw Amy off to school. The little girl's shoulders seemed to carry a heavy secret. "Amy, don't worry. Grandma will talk to Mom," Martha whispered at the school gate. Amy nodded anxiously. "Don't be angry with Mom." "Of course not." Martha hugged her. "Now, off you go. I'll see you after school." On the way to the hospital, Martha was thinking about what to say. She had no intention of blaming Olivia. But she needed to know the truth. Especially to figure out what she could do for Amy and the newborn baby. Arriving at the maternity ward of Central Memorial Hospital, a nurse guided her to Olivia's room. Martha knocked on the door, took a deep breath, and entered. Olivia was on the bed, gazing out the window. In her arms slept a tiny baby. When Martha entered, Olivia slowly turned her face. Her eyes were red from crying. "Martha." Olivia's voice trembled. "Where's Bradley?" "At work. I came to pick you up," Martha answered quietly. She sat in a chair beside the bed and looked at the small baby. With fine, downy hair and soft features. Indeed, he didn't resemble Bradley. "His name is Noah," Olivia said. "Would you like to hold him?" Martha nodded silently and took the baby Olivia offered. Feeling the weight of the small life in her arms, she said, "Olivia, we need to talk." The color drained from Olivia's face. "About what?" "Last night, Amy showed me a smartphone," Martha said quietly. "About a man named David, and about this child." Tears welled up in Olivia's eyes. "Oh." She covered her face with both hands. "I never meant for Amy to see. It was a phone Caroline prepared for me." "I'm not judging you," Martha said, gently rocking the baby. "I just want to know the truth. For Amy's sake, and for this child's." After a long silence, Olivia slowly began to speak. "David was an instructor in my art class. We met 2 years ago." She paused. "Martha, my marriage to Bradley has been just a facade for a long time." Martha listened quietly. "He plays the perfect husband in public, but at home." Olivia exhaled deeply. There was verbal abuse. You have no talent, you can't even raise Amy properly. He gradually eroded my confidence. But why didn't you divorce? Martha asked. I couldn't. Olivia sank back into the bed. Bradley controlled my bank accounts, all my income was under his management. My interactions with friends were restricted, and I had to consider Amy too. Martha looked at Noah's tiny hand while continuing her questions. And David? He saw me as a person. Light returned to Olivia's eyes for the first time. He recognized my art, encouraged me. I was gradually drawn to him. She blushed. I know adultery is wrong. But only when I was with David could I be my true self. And this child is. Martha touched Noah's cheek. David's child, Olivia quietly admitted. When I found out I was pregnant, I hadn't been intimate with Bradley for months. He must have known. But concerned about appearances, he said nothing. Martha was filled with complex emotions. She was shocked to learn this unknown side of her son. Yet at the same time, she could understand this young woman's suffering. What are you planning to do now? Martha asked. Olivia looked straight into Martha's eyes. I'm going to escape. Caroline has agreed to help. After being discharged, I'll pretend to return home for a while, and once preparations are in place, I'll leave with Amy and Noah. With David? Olivia shook her head. No. At first, on my own. David is supporting me, but right now I need to start a new life with my children. With him, someday, I hope to build a relationship over time. While returning Noah to Olivia, Martha said, What can I do to help? Olivia looked up in surprise. You're not blaming me for the affair. I'm in no position to judge, Martha answered quietly. Besides, considering Amy and this child's happiness, I can't believe the current home environment is best. But Bradley is your son. That's precisely why I need to address his issues as well, Martha said sadly. I love my son, but he needs to reflect on what he's doing and look at himself. Thank you. Tears of gratitude welled up in Olivia's eyes. What's your specific plan? Martha returned to practical matters. I plan to stay temporarily at Caroline's parents' house. Her parents have agreed to help. Then, I'll prepare to become independent through my artwork. The conversation was interrupted when the door to the hospital room opened. Amy rushed in. Mom! She jumped onto Olivia's bed and hugged her mother. Caroline peeked apologetically from outside the door. I'm sorry. She wanted to see her mother so badly that I let her leave school early. Martha smiled. It's all right. Amy looked at the baby in Olivia's arms. My brother. Yes, this is Noah, Olivia answered tenderly. Where's Dad? When Amy asked, the air in the room momentarily froze. At work, Martha answered. But it's okay, we can have a wonderful family time just us. Martha met Olivia's eyes and nodded slightly. She chose to believe that this day might be a new beginning for them. 1 year later, on a spring afternoon, Martha stood in front of a small apartment in Portland. In her arms, she held a colorful bouquet, her heart pounding with anticipation. When she knocked on the door, she immediately heard Amy's energetic voice. It's Grandma. The door opened, and 9-year-old Amy burst out, hugging Martha around the waist. Her hair had grown longer, and her face showed a confidence Martha had never seen before. Amy, you've grown so much, Martha said, hugging her granddaughter. Grandma, come in quickly. Noah is waiting, Amy happily pulled her hand. Though small, the apartment was filled with warmth. Olivia's colorful paintings adorned the walls, and the window overlooked the greenery of a park. In the center of the living room, Noah was taking wobbly steps on his small feet. Now 1 year old, he had David's deep brown eyes and Olivia's gentle smile. Martha, thank you for coming. Olivia appeared from the kitchen. She looked like a different person from a year ago. A confident walk, direct gaze. Her shoulder-length hair was dyed a lighter color, and her simple yet tasteful clothing told the story of her new way of life. Olivia, I'm glad to see you're doing well. Martha offered the bouquet. What a lovely apartment. Thank you. It's small, but enough for us, Olivia smiled. And most importantly, I can breathe freely here. She guided Martha to the sofa. Noah stared at Martha with curious eyes and timidly approached her. Hello, Noah, Martha spoke to him gently. He smiled shyly and toddled back to his mother. And David? Martha asked. We're maintaining a friendship, Olivia answered quietly. He meets with Noah regularly, but right now I'm focusing on standing on my own 2 feet. She pointed to a portfolio on the coffee table. I'm going to have an exhibition at a local art gallery. And I've also started working on illustrations for children's books. That's wonderful, Martha congratulated her sincerely. How is Bradley? Olivia asked quietly. Martha exhaled a little. The same as ever. Outwardly he plays the victim, but he found a new partner 6 months ago. She's also young and talented, but the same pattern seems to be starting already. And you? How are things between you and him? It's complicated, Martha answered honestly. I love my son, but I can't condone his behavior. I strongly recommended counseling, but he thinks the problem is with everyone else, not himself. From the edge of the room, Amy watched her mother while playing with Noah. In her eyes, there was no longer anxiety, only gentle love. What do you think makes a real family? Olivia suddenly asked. After thinking for a while, Martha answered, not blood ties, but relationships where people respect and love each other. And above all, a place where you can be your true self. Olivia nodded quietly. That's what I think too. That's why I'm certain this decision was right. That night, Martha stayed in the apartment's guest room. Before bedtime, Amy sneaked into Martha's room. Grandma, we're happy now, she said in a small voice. Mom doesn't cry anymore, and she smiles a lot more. Martha kissed her granddaughter's forehead. That's the most important thing, Amy. Outside the window, spring rain was falling gently. It was a pure sound, like announcing a new beginning.